smile. It's hard not to see that and just get a little bit of smile.
Don, what would you tell people if they've been on the fence, they're maybe thinking about joining the armed forces or, the civilian line? Are there things that stand out that you've been able to experience over the years that you don't think regular people have?
Again, supporting the mission, getting out to an air show, but traveling, I've loved traveling a little bit. I've got a family, so I like to travel some, but it's been cool seeing some of the different areas of our nation, visiting some of the different Air Force and Army bases. That's been cool, just working on a mission that we have here. Some of those little things, again, some of the paid leave, I'm able to take leave, go on vacation. But, still live and work here in Utah, but support the Air Force. So that's what I like.
You talked about that pension, and that pension is true. Those are unheard of in today's day and age.
Absolutely, especially for some of those skilled labor, machinists, mechanics, paid leave, pension. Not very many pays. We do a retirement 401k match as well as the pension. So, that's
incredible.
Great. I do love that.
Well, and obviously coming out of the last few years that we have with the pandemic, job stability, that's not underrated. Don't sleep on job stability.
It is. And I haven't talked about telework for some of our professional organizations. We do have, especially for our engineers, we do telework. I telework maybe one day a week, but we offer that telework, which is a great benefit. Just flexibility for family, work-life balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really telework is one of those things where I think, in today's job market as employers, you kind of have to at least consider, right?
Yes. It was hard to get there. It was a year and a half ago. We went from zero to, for our professional series, and of course our mechanics, they can't telework.
Right.
They're
here,
you
got to be here.
Turning wrenches on our aircraft. But for, our civilian, or I guess our professional workforce, we went from zero to, near 100% telework. We backed off some now, but there are quite a few areas where they offer, telework 4 or 5, days out of a pay period.
Mm-hmm. And I think we learned a lot. We never would have gone to that had we not been forced to try to figure it out. And I think it was kind of this untapped area where it is very important to some people to have that option. Personally, I'd rather just go to work. I have little kids. Easier to just go to work. No, but I think that is a huge benefit. And when people are looking, and especially with gas prices, what they are right now, that is a huge motivator.
Yep. Well, I like having the flexibility because it's fun to come in. I mentioned the people. It's good to get in, interact, but occasionally it's nice to just get out of bed, take a shower, and walk in the other room, and I'm at work.
Right.
The commute is nice.
Yeah, and what do you think of the crowds today, Don? I mean, it's pretty incredible, right? We talked about it's been 4 years since we had an air show. Look at that site.
Oh, it's amazing. That's why I talk about community support.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
No, it is. It's incredible. It's fun to see everyone. The fact that it's free, I think, is just an incredible community service. I mean, you live up here, so you kind of watch things that are going on all the time. But for those of us who don't live in the Layton area or near the base, it's fun to come up and watch. Oh, so they're training all the time. This is for a greater mission, but it's also just cool.
It is. Yes, absolutely. And no matter how crowded it is, it's easy to look up. You can still get a good seat no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we really appreciate you spending some time with us. And, last chance, prospective job applicants, what would you tell them?
Some of those job boards, so Hill Air Force Base, recruiting, Facebook, Utah Department of Workforce's job site. We're on LinkedIn, and then US or AirForceCivilians.com.
Okay, is there an age limit? I mean, I know, when you're joining the armed forces and going to be active duty, you can't be over a certain age. Is that still the case?
I'm going to say 18 and older.
Okay, but for someone who's maybe retired, they could come and do some of these jobs,
absolutely,
right? Okay.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
That is our target audience too. You're retiring from the Air Force, you're retiring from active duty, but you still want to stay close to the mission, and you've got some skill sets. We are definitely hiring retirees.
Awesome. So aircraft electricians, machinists, software engineers, and more. We want you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Don. Wow. What an incredible mission, right?
Yeah, it is.
And really such an opportunity, I think, from the community's perspective to have, a an employer who is as large as it is, and they need help. And
I agree.
Wonderful opportunities to provide for your families here in Utah.
And there is so much instability. There's so much uncertainty on these kids that are just finishing high school or that associate's degree or even the bachelor's degree on what to do with that. And what a great opportunity. And you talked about growing with the cause. I mean, you look at a lot of these retirees who have, like you were active duty, 20 years? Is that right?
20 years. I went out into the civilian world for a couple years and said, I still want to be a part of the Air Force. And now I've been a civilian for going on 11 years.
Wow.
Almost 12 years, actually. Gosh, I lose count.
Well, and what kind of opportunities did you see over the years?
There's so much opportunity because, again, the civilian workforce is so important. And we're actually pretty lucky because we're going to have the commander of the Air Logistics Complex about to join us. So Don's boss.
Don's boss. Oh, I hope Don said everything right. Should we tell on him?
No.
Did he say anything that was controversial?
No,
Just joking.
No. But really excited to meet General Gibbs, and he's kind of that last interview before we get to the headline.
The headline, that's right. And he is just getting briefed right now on some very hard-hitting questions that we're about to ask.
Oh, yeah, hard-hitting. But, it's really cool and so great to be able to talk to these senior leaders and, understand more about what Hill Air Force Base does. I'm sure it's very eye-opening for a lot of people, and we are absolutely delighted now to be joined by Brigadier General Richard Gibbs. He's the commander of the Ogden Air Logistics Complex here at Hill Air Force Base. It provides logistics support, maintenance, and distribution for the nation's premier fighter aircraft, the F-35 Lightning II, the F-22, F-16, A-10, C-130s out here, T-38, tons of weapon systems, the ICBMs, the Sentinel now.
Yep.
Sir, 7 different groups, tons of specialties, 10 plus remote locations. I'm just going to say the Ogden Air Logistics Complex is a pretty busy place to be.
It's absolutely a busy place. So, Dan, Debbie, thanks for having me on today. And thanks for everybody watching today. What a great day. This is absolutely incredible. And I will say the timing couldn't be better.
Yeah, we talked about the weather last weekend.
Weather.
Thumbs down last weekend, right?
Well, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But given the movies that have just been out recently.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I still have not been, but I'm going. It's scheduled.
I only remember the Air Force recruiting commercial that came on before the movie. That's all I remember.
Well, so I was just talking to a Navy veteran, and he's like, great movie. So glad to have you here. And I like the order that you did things. You first go to that movie, you come out here, and you join the Air Force Air Show.
That was strategic.
Yeah,
that was part of the plan. Tell us about the big picture of the Air Force.
Of the Air Force.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
What the ALC does for the Air Force.
Right.
Well, absolutely. So in the Air Force, there are 3 depots. We do the overhaul of everything that you see flying out here. Generally, what we focus on are fighter aircraft. We also have a couple others that we look at, and so the C-130s for the Navy, T-38s which is training aircraft, which we do elsewhere. And then we also do software engineering, which a few years ago I had no idea that we wrote the software for the computers that are on the aircraft. And then, of course, we do the ICBM work, as you mentioned.
And what is that? What is ICBM?
Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. So our nuclear arsenal that are in the holes in the ground, out in the cornfields, and across many states. So we actually go out to those locations, and we do the overhauls of the missiles and the facilities that house those. So it's a lot of work. None of our weapon systems are that new. I'll say with the exception of some of the F-35, it's newer. But we do a lot of modification work. And so every time that a combatant commander says, hey, here's the challenge for us, our engineers to get together and they figure out what needs to go onto the aircraft or inside the aircraft. And so we do a lot of that work here, putting it on the airplanes. And of course, every time you take an aircraft apart, it's metal. It's a machine. It wears out. And so when we take them apart, we find a lot of things that need attention, fixing, replacement, refurbishment, and that's what we do here.
So what's your role working inside Air Force Materiel Command? How do you support them and their overall mission?
Right, so we are part of the Sustainment Center. The Sustainment Center has supply, so our supply chain folks, and they've also got the depot workload. So depot, it's the overhaul, but there's 3 different organizations within the Air Force that do that. And we're just looking forward and trying to find what's the thing that's going to eat our lunch, and we try to get ahead of that as much as possible so that we keep the readiness rates high for our warfighters.
I love that you talk about that, because really so smart to always be on the offense instead of trying to play catch up.
Oh, yeah. That's the goal. But, you know, it's machines that wear out. And so every once in a while we are surprised by something that we'll find as you peel back the layers. And we've got a great team of, you know, the folks that work here. And I'll say there's a lot of people that work here. Almost 8,600 people that are working at the depot itself. And that's everything from engineers, scientists, technicians, supply folks. If you can imagine somebody touching an aircraft, a weapon system, we've got them here working for us. So it's a fantastic job. It's one that I have always wanted to do. I love talking to people. If you can't tell, I love airplanes, and I love being around this sort of mission. So absolutely incredible.
So I got to ask, though, when you take command of such a large and diverse organization as the ALC, were you, even as much as you know, were you blown away by the scope when you actually got in a seat?
I was. And you'd think I have been in the Air Force for almost 30 years. You would think with that amount of time that I would have spent more time here at these kind of organizations. I haven't. This is the first time I've ever been stationed in this sort of operation. And it was overwhelming with the sheer volume of work that goes on. And it's to the infinite detail that there's, I mean, you just had Don Justin on, and his team of folks are looking at the workload that we're bringing on, and how do we best get after that. It's I'll say a flying operation is difficult. This is a really complex, dynamic operation, and I've been here a year, and I learned something new. I learned many things new every single day about that operation, so it's incredible. So
you have all of these different roles, and each is so important. How critical is it for the people in those roles to maximize their position?
Well, it's, you know, so resources are always a problem. We will never have as many people or as many dollars as we would like to have. So the reality is we're not going to be getting more, and so you go with that. And so having folks that are talented, educated, hardworking professionals is the key. That is absolutely how we get this job done. And you know, it's been said many times, but the people are the heartbeat of our force, and that is absolutely true here as well. So,
the theme of the Hill Air Force Base Air Show and the Air Force's 75th anniversary, Innovate, Accelerate, Thrive, the Air Force at 75. Can you maybe talk about some of the things that you guys are doing to, you know, innovate the change necessary that General Brown talks about so we can defeat our strategic adversaries?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, we are always looking at ways to innovate. You know, we're looking at new technology. We're assessing where this can help our workforce. As an example, on the F-16, we have some bulkheads, so some structural areas inside the aircraft that require very precise drilling. And interestingly, you have to have done these actions multiple times, and it's not just a science, it's an art, because you'll get a visual anomaly. So you'll be looking at this area, and you'll think you're seeing a straight-in way to drill, and you're really not. And so it's pretty easy to make a mistake. Well, we brought computers in to do this and a robot, and lo and behold, the robot's making the exact same kinds of mistakes. So we've got to work with the team to adjust the software to account for that visual anomaly. And those are just examples. And so we don't do that just ourselves. We do have fantastic engineers that work here at the depot. It's a system program office for each of the different weapon systems. But we go out to academia, we go out to industry, and we're looking for great ideas wherever we can find them. And we're often interested in testing new things out and getting better and getting faster. And again, it's all about readiness. So getting these aircraft through the process and back out to the warfighters.
You know, as we've watched everything unfold in Ukraine over the last few months, I've had so many moments where I've just thought, well, I looked up the numbers on what the U.S. spends on defense compared to the other countries in NATO, and there is a huge reason we are the powerhouse that we are. And the reason that, generally speaking, we don't get touched on U.S. soil. And it's because of all of the work that you guys are doing all the time. How important is that, and how rewarding is it to be part of that?
It's absolutely rewarding. Folks stop and thank me for my service all the time, which makes me very uncomfortable. I am privileged to be living in this country. I'm honored to be a part of our military service. And I've traveled the world, so I recognize the privileges that we have. And I look across our great U.S. Air Force, our Department of Defense, the capability that we bring to bear in support of those ideals, democracy, freedom, and to be a part of that, it still gives me goosebumps. So I love it.
And we're seeing the best of that today on display here at the Hill Air Show. And we can tell you're so passionate about what you do, and I absolutely love it. But what really motivates you? What makes you want to go to work every day here at Hill Air Force Base?
So I've said it. It's the people. I love working with people, and if you spend some time chatting with our folks, you'll see that they're pumped up, they're motivated, they're excited to be here. Not every day is supercharged.
It's not all air shows.
It's not all air shows, but they work through the challenges, the difficult times. They figure out creative solutions. And I just love working with people like these. So that, to me, that's what gets me up in the mornings. And you never know what you're going to see during the day. You never know what things you're going to learn. But I know who I'm going to be doing it with, and that's fantastic.
So
yeah, that's
looking
amazing.
ahead, what might be on the horizon of maybe future initiatives for the ALC over the next 1 to 3 years, maybe?
Well, so as you see new fighter programs coming in, you can think about us. That's where workload will generally be coming. But we do work on every weapon systems components. And so landing gear, we do a lot of that kind of stuff here. So if there are new fighter programs coming on, this is probably a location they're going to be coming. As we expand and grow the F-35 program, they're coming here. And so the more modifications that we need to do, so we're going to be expanding and growing that workload.
How many F-35s do you have here at Hill? I mean, too many to count? Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just like, it's such an amazing
I don't know.
aircraft.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
It's for the depot side of the house, we're talking in the 20s and 30s. We're growing that right now. I honestly don't know the operational side. I am busy with my own. I have been over in Hyper's their commander. I'd have to go ask him.
No, but so dozens. You have dozens here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's incredible.
It really
and to see
is.
that training going on all the time. It's been fun for us to just get this.
It's an air show every day for us.
Well, it kind of is. It is. But for the rest of us, we don't see these, especially not up close and personal. And then to see the expertise of the pilot and just putting on an amazing show for us.
Oh,
today.
yeah. Well, and you got to remember all the folks that are in the background that are doing the support work,
Right.
and it's everybody. You often don't think of the finance, the administrative, the personnel support, the cooks, the maintenance personnel.
True.
Across the board, there is I'd like to say an army of people. There's an air force of people that are getting this done. So
Yeah, that's true.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
An Air Force and a Space Force.
That's right. That's right. And we do have Space Force folks here.
Oh, okay. That's awesome, too.
Okay, 30 years. You've been 30, is that what you said? 30 years?
Just shy of 30.
Just shy of 30. What are like a couple of the standout moments that you've had?
Oh, wow. Gosh, there are so many. I feel like I can't keep a job because I have worked so many different weapon systems. I've gotten to deploy with our airmen forward. I've gotten to work on the B-2 weapon system. I've been out in the Pacific working on F-15s.
Wow.
I have had just phenomenal experiences in our Air Force. So, standout moments, I don't know. There are so many.
And you still love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But have you ever flown in 2 Yak 55s
No.
put together?
We're watching this on your video screens, and oh my gosh, that's amazing. I have not. I've gotten to fly B1. I've gotten to fly F-15, T-38. So even as a maintainer, I've gotten to fly a few things periodically. Part of it is they would like me to see what it is that our organization does. And I will tell you, for the B1, maybe the best part for the air crews was we ground aborted, so it's they had a maintenance issue on the airplane, and they were like, see, this is what we have to go through. And we turned it around. We got it fixed in like 5 minutes. And like, see, if you just know how to describe the problem, there you go. You got your solution.
You don't just say just turn it off and turn it back on.
That could work. There's a lot of computer systems in here.
All right, so I asked a lot of people this morning, you know, what is their favorite aircraft to watch at the air shows? I mean, I know it's tough, but do you have one, or you're like, or are you going to give me the Air Force? Just
like
I love
your
them
kids.
all.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. So there's two. I got to give you two.
Okay.
And then as I'm watching each one, it's probably that one. But I will tell you, the F-35, I love watching those fly. I loved watching them fly low level, low speed, and it's amazing the capabilities of that airframe. But the F-16 I love. I love the F-16. There was a move that I saw a few years ago that the Thunderbirds had done where it's flying very low level and at a high angle of attack. And it was, how does that stay airborne? So, so maybe those two.
So,
But ask me in 10 minutes and I'll probably
Might
change
be
my
different.
mind.
well, I was going to say, you just got to see the F-35, and we still have the Air Force Thunderbirds waiting on deck. So I think we've checked your list so far, sir.
Excellent.
So-
I'm ready. Keep them coming.
All right, so Brigadier General Richard Gibbs, commander here at the Air Logistics Complex here at Hill Air Force Base. Thank you so much for your time, Jay.
Absolutely.
We really
Thanks
appreciate
so much
it.
for having me, and thanks for being a part of this today, everybody.
Yeah.
All
Take
right,
care,
thank you.
sir. Wow. I mean, just the passion
Yeah.
of General Gibbs, and, you know, really everybody we've met today.
It's true.
It just exudes out of them, right?
It does. Excellence at work. And every single, should we call it act that we're seeing? Every single act is just perfect.
Yeah, so, I mean, just incredible to see the dedication and passion, and, you know, of a General Gibbs. I mean, 30-plus years of service
Yeah.
in uniform, leading the men and women at the Air Logistics Complex. That was hard to say.
You did it.
But, you know, I just find it incredible, again, like they are looking for help. So,
Right.
you know, if you're interested, there's opportunities here to make a career for yourself in aviation.
Yeah, it's true. And you don't really have to move. It's just right here in our backyard. And a lot of fun.
Okay, so to learn a little bit more and just see a glimpse of life at the Air Logistics Complex, let's go ahead and take a look at this package about landing gear.
I'm Shane Dooley. I'm a production supervisor over Heavy Lifter Assembly. My shop is an assembly shop, so we bring in all the pieces, parts for the landing gear. We build an assembly, we assemble it, test it. As the Air Force's only landing gear overhaul facility, we provide all landing gear for all aircraft on all weapon systems. C-17, A-10, F-16, F-15, F-35, B-1, B-2, C-5, C-130. We provide the only source for landing gear overhaul for the United States Air Force. Worked in a couple different places in this building, and now I'm a supervisor. It's really the people that do it. We got these guys that are working and they're putting in the work, and if he doesn't inspect that part right there, right, that gear fails, a plane crashes when it lands, or it takes off and it can't come back down, and you could have 30, 40, 50 souls on board, they could lose their lives. So it's very important that we take care of everything the best we can. The smallest detail matters. It's all part of a big cog, and we're only doing one piece, and it has to line up and everything has to work perfectly. This facility produces roughly 6,000 gear a year between all weapon systems. We have a machine shop, chrome plating shop, assembly shops, disassembly shop, E&I, NDI inspections, everything's done in-house. I think the most unique part of this facility is that we can take an F condition, which is coming off an aircraft, and we can return it to an A condition. We can take the whole gear, tear it down to its base metal, machine it, rebush it, recap plate it, paint it, and then turn it back into a functioning gear. Every time I go home, I see those aircraft flying around. I know that they're landing because of what we did here.
As you see, Jeff Borboon, the pilot of these, they call it a Yak 110 because it's two Yak 55s crammed together.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
That's actually a Russian airplane,
Is
believe it
it?
or not. Yeah, it was designed for aerobatics. It's not really a military aircraft at all. It was designed by the Russians for aerobatics. And then Jeff and his team about 10 years ago decided, hey, what if we put two of these 55s together and we'll call it a 110?
If one's good, two's got to be better, right?
Yeah,
So are they fused together? Do they only
yeah.
fly together? Oh, that's
Yeah, apparently,
fun.
yeah. So I'm not smart enough to know how it works, but as we get a nice look, they fly by show center here. It's pretty cool stuff. So we might have Colonel Craig Anderle stopping by, the commander of the 388th Fighter Wing, so we'll be standing by for that. The Air Force Thunderbirds are about to be on deck, and I bet your family is probably a little jealous. They're probably like, what? You get to go hang out by the
right?
Thunderbirds?
I know, it's true. It's true. It's one of my more fun assignments.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Good to get out to the field, and so it's been a while since you've been to Hill, though.
It's been a while. I'm trying to think. Even the last time I was out here on a story, it has been years. So it's fun to be here. I mean, you know what's going on here all the time. You know that the training is happening and they're working on state-of-the-art stuff. But to be out here today, there is that sense of pride. There is a sense of excitement. And I mean, it's just amazing to see these planes. They're loud. You can feel it. You can see it. And it's a gorgeous day to be watching it with, 250,000 of our best friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Joining us. And for all of those that are watching on Facebook or watching on the app, then obviously the weather's perfect for you as well as you're watching from your living room. And hopefully you've really been enjoying watching all of these airplanes and listening to the crew here that is so passionate, that works so hard to keep things going here, and are just running this state-of-the-art operation here at Hill Air Force Base.
So you've been out here about 3 hours. Anything surprised you yet?
I've been surprised how loud it is. You kind of know it's going to be loud, but then to feel it and and to see it this close up is just quite a spectacle.
Yeah. So the Yak 55 times 2
That's
still
right.
out there flying, and that is the last act on the schedule before the Thunderbirds. So if you've been waiting, don't stray too far from
Right.
your phone or your computer if you're watching us online. And apparently you can watch the news at 5 o'clock because Debbie
That's
here
right.
is going
We're
to be
gonna
doing a news
That's
hit
right.
too,
We're
right?
going to have a live shot here.
Oh.
Now, by that point, most of the action will be over, but we'll show you what's been going on here all day if you missed it.
Yeah, some of the highlights.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Yak 110.
Okay.
All right, actually and you mentioned some of this. The Yak 110 is actually two Yak 55 airframes that have been joined together to make one aircraft. Add in a J85 jet engine, and you're in for a unique treat. Two-time advanced national aerobatic champion Jeff Borboon is taking us on this spectacular ride as he does twists, turns, yanks, and banks. Whoa. This one-of-a-kind aircraft in the skies over Hill Air Force Base.
Certainly one of a kind.
Yes, definitely.
Certainly one of a kind.
Well, that's what's been fun to watch, too.
We can hear you, sir.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you. It's been fun to see some of the fun, just silly stuff, and then some of just the show-stopping, unbelievable stuff that's going on here today.
Absolutely delighted to have Colonel Craig Anderle, commander of the 388th Fighter Wing, an F-35 pilot himself, and responsible for the training, morale, welfare of more than 2,000 personnel across 6 squadrons operating the F-35, and also oversees operations at the Utah Test and Training Range, which I didn't know, 3.2 million, just massive footprint for operational test and evaluation of weapons. Sir, how are you?
I'm great. Beautiful day here.
Oh, gorgeous, right? So call sign Hyper?
Hyper, yep.
A call sign hyper. Okay, tell us about that.
Well,
does it go without saying? Are you a wild man?
It's more of an opposite. So I'm a fairly laid back person. So they went with hyper. And there's more to the story, but we'd have to have a couple drinks and then I.
Okay, then it would be
then
it'd be fun. Tell us how much fun it is to have this event going on today.
Oh, it's amazing. Really to not have done this for 4 years and then to have the opportunity to bring the community out to the base. To an event like this and to show off, all the airplanes, the F-35, the Thunderbirds, all the Warbirds that are here, the aerobatics, the Golden Knights jumping in, to have that opportunity to open the base up to the community because, I will tell you, I've been in the Air Force 20 plus years. The community support here in Utah is second to none. It's amazing to see. And so for us to be able to open up the base and bring the community out here to watch this event is really special to us and something that we're very glad we were able to make happen this year.
It's been fun to watch. I mean, we've talked about, we kind of know what's going on out here, but to get up close, to see it in person, to see that F-35, just unbelievable, and a lot of incredible work that you guys do up here.
Yeah, obviously this is our community, right? It's our backyard. Right outside the gates. It's the folks that we interact with every day. And so we make a lot of noise sometimes. I know that. Sometimes late at night when we're doing night flying. It's all for a reason. It's all part of our training to be ready to go rapidly employ combat power anywhere in the globe. We've done that recently out of our wing. Went to Europe with one of our fighter squadrons. Just recently brought them home. And so to be able to open it up and bring the community out and show them why we do what we do here at the base and why it's important, and really to show them how much we appreciate the support that we get every day here in the local community.
So it's interesting because this is where you get a little mix of missions, right? You have the Air Logistics Complex and what they do is a little bit different, but you're a little bit more on the operational side of the house. Can you really dive into what it is that the 388th is all about?
So we rapidly employ combat power on behalf of our nation. That's what we do.
Rapidly employ combat power. That is cool.
Real simple.
Job description.
Right? That's it.
Right?
That makes the 30-second elevator speech very easy.
I'm feeling very boring right now. Yeah.
Hands down, we have the world's most advanced fighter aircraft in our wing, the F-35. We have 78 of them in the wing, 3 fighter squadrons, a little over 2,000 airmen that make that mission happen. And we're ready to go anywhere in the world at a moment's notice to employ the world's most advanced fighter aircraft in support of our allies and partners and to deter our adversaries. And we've proven that lately.
Yeah.
We've gone and done that mission. But that's what the wing does. That's what we train to do every day. And we're ready to do that at a moment's notice.
How rewarding is it to know that you're part of that national security?
Service is a thing in and of itself. I think to be a part of something that's bigger than yourself is a very rewarding thing, and then to see the impact that we have on our airmen in the wing who are a part of that mission, that are proud of what they do, and then to take care of their families who support them. Because we deploy, we're busy.
Yeah.
We're the Air Force's first F-35 combat wing. We're a busy wing, and that takes we're out the door a lot, and it's a toll on the families, but to be able to take care of them, to be a part of that is a very rewarding thing.
So I read that you guys are the first combat-coded F-35 wing in the Air Force. Can you just tell us a little bit about what that actually means?
Yeah, so when we first brought online the F-35, it was initially in testing, and then we started our training bases.
And when was that?
So 2010 to 15, we're bringing the jet online, we're doing testing, we're starting the training bases, and then as the jet is produced and we're producing pilots, we stood up squadrons here at Hill. We received our last jets in 2020 that filled out our 3 fighter squadrons here at Hill. So we replaced the F-16 with the F-35, 78 jets on the ramp, 3 full fighter squadrons, and we were the first F-35 combat wing in the Air Force to be fully stood up and ready to go. Just like Hill was the first F-16 base, before that, we're now the first F-35 base.
Some serious bragging rights.
It's a great place to be.
What's your favorite part about the job?
Every day is awesome. but I would say that the people. You know,
Yeah,
the
we've
jets
been
are,
hearing that a lot. Yeah.
The jets are great. I love flying. I've done some. I flew F-16s most of my career. Transitioned to F-35. I've had some great experiences. Done some really awesome things. I'm a farm kid from Iowa. My dad wouldn't let me drive the combine. It was too complicated, right? So
That is so funny.
now I get to do this, and it's awesome. But the most rewarding thing that I think any of us do is take care of people and work with folks who are like-minded and want to be the best at what they do. And having that experience every day is really awesome.
But would your dad let you drive the combine now, or is he still a little hesitant?
Still a little hesitant. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Well, first things first.
Yeah.
First F-35s, then maybe you'll work your way up to the
I'll
combine.
get there someday.
Yeah.
Still hoping.
So just a little while ago, we got to see Beowulf fly the F-35 demo, and then, of course, her flight with the heritage flight with the P-51. Always cool. Tell me about the value of the demo team and what that means, having that inside the wing. How cool is that?
So it's awesome. And Bayo isn't just the demo pilot. She's an instructor pilot in our wing. So outside of show season, Bayo's a combat-ready F-35 pilot. We would deploy her if we needed to, right? So, and I think that's important for folks to understand. This isn't her full-time job. It is during show season.
Right. Yeah.
But outside of that, she's an F-35 pilot, combat-ready and ready to go. The demo team to us is, one, a way to give back to the community, right, and to get out to air shows and show people what we do. And it's also a recruiting tool for the Air Force. The military is an all-volunteer force. We need people, and we need folks that can see what we do and get excited about it and want to be a part of that. And so, if you go to an air show and you see the F-35 demo and you think, that's something I want to do one day, awesome. Then we're winning. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, and for me, I'm a little bit older than her, but to watch a woman be the pilot of that, I mean, really, that just shows me a future generation, there are no limits.
Yeah, 100%. I think as fighter pilots, we've known for a long time that the jet doesn't care.
Man or woman,
care,
right?
Man, woman, white, African American, Hispanic. The jet doesn't care, and we don't care.
Right.
You're either good at your job or you're not.
A commitment to excellence is what you want.
100%. And so, but we need to show people that these opportunities exist for them, regardless of who you are. And so, an opportunity to have Bayo out there to go to an air show, take the helmet off and drop the ponytail,
Yeah.
right? And little girls out there are like, holy cow, she looks like me and she's doing this. That's awesome. It's great opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, rated diversity improvement, not just in the pilot ranks, but, in so many Air Force specialties is really so important. But you're an F-35 pilot. Debbie was wondering, while we were watching Kristen fly her routine, what, 7, 8 Gs might feel like, in that jet.
Yeah, I think so. You've probably had an elephant sit on your chest before. It's just like that.
It's just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, and so because we were talking about the physicality of being one of those pilots. Tell us about that. It's not just having your wits about you and knowing the plane. It's that physicality.
Yeah, so I would say that being a fighter pilot, it's a combination of being a pro football player and a professional chess player. Because the mental aspect of what we do is very, very important. We're managing the fight, right? So where I am, what I see, where everyone else is, where they're targeted, what the adversary laydown looks like, and I'm fighting the G's in the aircraft, which is a physical event. So it's a sporting event, and it's a chess match, and it's all at the same time. It's one of those cool opportunities to have a job that never gets boring. Right?
Yeah. And now, okay. So, but you say that combo has got to be so rare. Like when you're recruiting, when you're looking at someone coming through the ranks, how do you know that person has what it takes?
I think first and foremost, most of us are really good looking. So you go with that first.
Okay.
Now, we start out and we look for
cross that off. Okay.
We look for folks who, one, have a desire and a drive to be the best at what they do, because this isn't an easy job to do. It's not an easy road to get here. And so if you don't have that commitment, if you're not willing to put in the time, you're never going to make it. And on the same breath, all the God-given talent that you may have doesn't matter if you're not willing to work.
Right.
So we look for attitude more than anything else.
Yeah.
That attitude to be the best at what you do and the willingness to work at it, that's what makes a fighter pilot.
That's an incredible combo.
And so we've asked everybody this today, and I know you flew different airframes. Do you have a favorite, or are you just going to say, oh, the F-35 because it's the coolest? Like, what's the answer here? You're on the spot.
Yeah, so I love the F-16. A couple thousand hours in that jet, 1,000 combat hours in that aircraft. I love that aircraft. If I was going out to do a dogfight, I'll pick the F-16. That jet turns like nothing else. Especially, the Thunderbirds are Block 52s, big motor F-16s that I flew. That jet turns like nothing else in the Air Force. If I'm going to war tomorrow, real war, I want to be in an F-35.
Right.
Hands down. That aircraft has capabilities that nothing else in the world has.
Yeah, and it's so great that we got to see all of that on display. So, sir, on behalf of everybody, thank you so much for what you do every day in defense of this great nation, and really thanks for putting on this show for everybody here.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I love my job, and we're happy to have everybody out here today. It's awesome.
Great.
So we want to highlight one of Utah's very own. Earlier this year, the Air Force and our country lost a true patriot as Colonel Gail Halverson passed away at the age of 101, affectionately known as the Candy Bomber. Colonel Halverson left behind a legacy of kindness and compassion.
The name Candy Bomber, I think, is something that's respected and cherished across the globe.
He is the symbol of the German-American friendship. I cannot think of any individual which laid such a foundation just a few years after the war like he did.
There's no one that comes into his sphere of influence that remains a stranger.
It started with the Berlin airlift. The Soviet Union had cut off ground supply routes to West Berlin. Panic grew over shortages of food, water, and medical aid. Only 9 months after the fledgling Air Force was made a separate branch in the military by Congress, it faced the largest humanitarian airlift challenge in history. C-47 and C-54 cargo aircraft crews flew basic necessities into Berlin at regular intervals, day after day, flying more than 189,000 flights, eventually delivering more than 2.3 million tons of supplies. Gail Halverson, a lieutenant at the time, piloted one of these aircraft as part of the effort called Operation Vittles. The story goes that he saw some German children near the fence at Tempelhof Airport while dropping off supplies. He spoke with them as best he could. He was struck by their gratitude and fascination. At the time, American children would automatically hold out their hands to anyone in uniform, begging for candy, but not these children. They asked for nothing more than what he had already brought on his plane. Reaching into his pocket, he decided to give them the 2 sticks of gum from his rations, worried it wouldn't be enough for all of them. He told them he'd be back though, and would wiggle his wings so they'd know it was him. Risking disciplinary action, Halverson talked the rest of his crew into donating the candy from their rations, dropping it with makeshift parachutes over Berlin for the children. When his chain of command found out, they weren't pleased, but recognized the goodwill he was fostering with former enemies. By the end, Operation Little Vittles dropped more than 23 tons of donated candy, and Halverson earned the nicknames the Chocolate Flyer, the Candy Bomber, and Uncle Wiggly Wings. His generosity moved the city of Berlin and repaired relations between the U.S. and Germany. The Berlin airlift gave people what they needed to survive, but Halverson gave them hope. He returned many times over the years, both in his military career and after, always to a hero's welcome. Halverson passed away in February 2022, but his memory lives on in the people he touched. Along with ceremonial honors, Air Mobility Command decided to honor Halverson's legacy by rededicating a C-17 Globemaster III, the spirit of the Candy Bomber.
When you look back at what this specific C-17 did for the Afghan operations, for the evacuees last August, that there couldn't be a more eloquent story to tie the legacy of Gail Halverson with the current airlifters of Air Mobility Command.
Along with the new moniker, the aircraft from Charleston Air Force Base, South Carolina, needed a new paint job and new artwork.
Working on the design for this was a real collaborative effort. General Minihan had the vision, and for me as a designer, I just worked with his vision of saying the spirit of the candy bomber, and he wanted the plane with the airdrop. So as a designer, at first you think, oh, I'm going to make this great big piece of art, but actually there's a lot of limitations that people may not realize. So the font had to be a certain font. It had to be a certain shape, like a football shape. There were certain elements that had to be on it, and the maintenance guys really wanted it to be very simple.
The C-17 and crew traveled to Joint Base Pearl Harbor-Hickam in Hawaii for a fresh coat of paint.
There's a lot of finer points that people don't really think about. It's not as simple as painting a room. There's some finer things like when you're laying down tape, putting down the same color so that it doesn't seep under and creep under the paint.
It took a week to paint the aircraft, along with the new logo, before returning to South Carolina. Later, the C-17 and crew participated in a ceremony in Provo, Utah, officially dedicating the aircraft in honor of Halverson. The next day, the C-17 participated in a flyby with the C-54. The C-54 dropped candy with parachutes over Spanish Fork, Utah, just like Halverson used to do almost 75 years ago.
I think you've got an excellent example in the C-17 of an incredibly capable airlift platform, certainly a descendant of the great airplane, the C-54. They're really wonderful pillars of honor to those who fly, fix, and support them.
Being able to see the design on that C-17 makes me feel really proud just to be a small part of this effort. The C-17s travel all over the world, and they do deliver hope and humanitarian goods to people in lots of crisis. And to me, it's just an honor being part of that legacy.
Throughout the past 75 years of Air Force history, there have been leaders, visionaries, people who saw what needed to be done and made it happen. Halverson epitomized service, excellence, and integrity. He set the tone for today's Air Force, as ready to take up arms as it is to lend a helping hand.
Innovate, accelerate, thrive. The Air Force at 75. Can you believe it? The Air Force has been a separate service since 1947.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
And Hill Air Force Base has been such a huge part of that. And, you know, the theme of the day, right? We talked to so many people, and what they say, it's the people,
Oh,
right?
yeah, right.
It's the people that keeps the engine moving. And it takes a village. It's not just the airplanes in the air. We're going to take a look here at one Hill Air Force Base mission, explosive ordnance disposal. I think you'll be surprised at what you see.
To be an EOD technician, it takes a problem solver. They got to be able to solve complex problems. You need to have somebody that's not a quitter. When things get hard, they got to be able to keep going and be able to push through. And you need somebody that is a team player as well and not afraid to bring things up when they have new ideas.
What EOD does, we take care of a lot of munitions, whether it be stored munitions that the military has on hand or found munitions outside. So we get a lot of calls from older people or people that pass away and their kids find hand grenades, all kinds of stuff in their garages. Whether they're World War II veterans, they just take trophies back and just keep them and don't tell their kids about them, and when their kids inherit it, they find it and they're like, oh, this is something. So they call their local enforcement and get the bomb squad out there, and we decide whether it's dangerous and just take care of it that way.
The Air Force in general, we have a lot of explosive hazards that need to be taken care of, right? So we need people to be able to take care of that so that we can keep the people within the Air Force safe. So whether that be aircraft or munitions or being able to clear ranges so that pilots can practice doing what they need to do. So we need EOD here to be able to take care of those explosive hazards so that the Air Force can continue on with their job safely. I think being an EOD technician at Hill is really unique in the fact that we get to do a wide variety of things. It's very rare that we'd be able to go out to the Utah Test and Training Range and be able to get rid of all the munitions that we do and do real large-scale demos. So, 100,000-pound shots, and there's a lot of unique things that we get to do here, and being able to live in a beautiful place like this and do this job is awesome.
Pretty impressive stuff. I mean, everything that goes on in the Air Force, again, it takes a total team effort. It's not just pilots.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of specialties, over 160 jobs in the Air Force.
Well, yeah, you think just here at Hill Air Force Base, thousands of employees and dozens of aircraft. You know, so if you put that in perspective, it's hundreds of people working on every single flight, on every single mission that goes out here.
Yeah, so we are waiting anxiously for the start of the Thunderbirds ground show. But while we wait, let's take a look at another essential function here at Hill Air Force Base, the ammo team.
So here at the 629th, we're not a traditional ammo squadron. We think ourselves more of the Amazon of the ammo world. So if a combat commander or a base anywhere around the world requires a type of munition, we're here to send it to them in a quick and efficient manner.
So the 649th Munitions Squadron's main mission is to provide world-class munitions to the warfighter. Now, what that means for us is that we can be asked to do anything from just small bullets to the largest non-nuclear munitions. It's all done through air transport. The reason why we do that is because it's the fastest. It's the most expensive, but it's going to be the quickest way of getting something that's needed to either backfill or rapidly set up a new mission. It could be a short amount of hours before we're notified and have to start moving.
Some of my day-to-day responsibilities are accountability for all our auxiliary mission equipment, AME for short. We handle 463 aircraft pallets, top nets, side nets, and all equipment used to palletize munitions for aircraft.
STAMP is an acronym. It stands for Standard Air Munitions Packages. So the easiest way to explain it is kind of like a menu. You go up to McDonald's or whatever. Hey, I want a number 5. Okay, so somebody can tell us, I want a unit type code, UTC, for whatever type of munition grouping that it is. Most of the times we try and build it to where it's exactly what they need to build up that whole type of munition. So with the safety precautions, we need to make sure that we know what the assets are that we're working with. We need to make sure that we know how to handle them, what their drop distances are, just in case there is an accident, that we know how to be safe, and exactly what goes into that kind of stuff. From there, we need to make sure that people are qualified to be able to handle the equipment that is required to be able to maneuver or move the assets, put them onto aircraft pallets. So we do have some people that are brand new, and make sure that they're paired up with people that have been here for a while, and just make sure we got a good mix, a good balance of people that are trained up, ready to go. So STAMP is unique because, to simply put it, the Air Force has the job to move cargo, personnel, material, equipment through the air when it comes to the United States Transportation Command. So that logistics that goes into that is 100% Air Force. Now, what's unique to us about that is we're the ones that are doing it worldwide from a munitions standpoint, which is pretty much our main whole reason why we're here. The most rewarding part for me is that we have a worldwide impact just here at our home station, that we're able to provide munitions, hopefully in a life-saving manner, to be able to bring the folks that are deployed home safely as well.
The most rewarding part of my job is definitely seeing all these assets that I touch or products that I build for our UTCs actually get implemented, used, or sent out to different countries such as Ukraine. And I can personally say my hands were on those assets, and they're out there helping fight.
So there's always a lot going on the ground, in the air, and behind the scenes here at Hill Air Force Base. Well, have you heard of the A-10 Thunderbolt?
Who hasn't?
Well, I hadn't, but I'm learning a lot here. So the A-10 Thunderbolt is the first Air Force aircraft specifically designed for close air support of ground services. Oh, we have a little ceremony going on back here. Yeah, there's a lot going on here at the show today. Well, that support team is also working all the time here at the base. Take a look.
We only do about 10, maybe 20% of the work here in the shop. The core concept here is a complete overhaul. We build armament and firearms for the A-10, the F-22, the F-16, the F-18, the Cobra M197 helicopter. So the equipment will come through pretty hammered, pretty beat up. We'll then process the work by opening the box, tearing everything apart, and then we will go and sandblast it. This is an asset that has come into us. Still has all of its coating on, and then this is after it's been blasted. This one's actually gone pretty far through its process. It's already been welded to have new plugs. And then once we finish up with this process, we can get it through to the next process, which is plating, and it'll come back looking a lot prettier than this one did coming in. My favorite part of the job is by far testing the firearms. It's very, very, very fun to see that happen. We're one of the only, if not the only, building in the world that has a test fire range capable of being able to test fire at 30 mil. But I think a really important part of this shop that most people need to know is we work really hard to keep the process going, keep the assets moving through. I'd say it doesn't take a very special person, but it takes somebody with at least a good work ethic.
Good work ethic. We keep hearing so much about that.
Yeah, and what a great segue, because, it's not all work and no play here at Hill Air Force Base. Let's take a look at how some of the airmen spend their time when they're not working.
So the purpose of the ARC is to get airmen involved in the community and to bring everybody together. There's a lot of airmen here on base, and we just kind of want to be the glue that keeps everybody together and bring them into one common place so they can enjoy their time outside of work and just kind of be a hub for all the airmen. We have a lot of stuff held here. I know there's gaming tournaments, there's board games, they have Metal Mondays they're starting to implement so you can come out and jam out with the instruments. A lot of cool stuff that, you won't really hear about until you really get into it and find out about it. Connecting with other people, it's a good opportunity to be able to find somebody that could help you out later down the road, and even just to have fun. It's a nice place to kind of connect with people once you're off work. After supporting the mission all day long, it's nice to have a place where you can come out, just chill and relax with your friends and really make a good time out of it.
The purpose of the ARC is just to provide airmen with that safe haven of sorts. So it's more of, what do you do with the ARC?
This is a good staycation, I love being here. It's fun, I love, playing piano. It gives me an opportunity to learn more. I don't have a car, so I don't really have anywhere to go. So I decided to come here, and it gives me a lot of opportunities like cooking. I can watch movies. There's a theater, there's a bunch of stuff that I can do. There are so many good opportunities to come out of this, and if we kept going and investing and helping the airmen out, it'll improve the Air Force and it'll improve Hill.
It's about having that sense of community with your fellow airmen, your wingmen, and then ultimately your friends.
All right, back here, Air Show Central.
Yes.
Dan Hawkins, Debbie Worthen. It has been honestly, a great afternoon.
It has.
But dare I say, it's about to get better.
Yes, for sure. Yes, probably the big thing that everyone's been looking forward to, one of the, but a big headliner here,